What's up, you guys? My name is Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet. It's a lovely day here in California. It's a bit gloomy, kind of rainy, but for whatever reason, I've often found that the times in my life when I'm most calm and serene and peaceful and clear are when the weather is what people normally describe to be gloomy. I don't know why. I just feel more at peace with myself, with my surroundings, all that sort of thing when I hear the sound of raindrops outside my window. I had a few things on my mind today, and rather than making an organized kind of themed video, I decided to just kind of go off of my thoughts and share with you guys a little bit about what's going on in my life and what's happened in my life in the last couple years. The thing that sets YouTube apart from something like movies or TV is you guys are kind of involved with what goes on in our lives, and you guys directly influence what happens in our lives. So I think, one of the things that I wish that my channel would have done more of in the last few years is maintain sort of that personal approach and let you guys in just a little bit more about the things that go on in my day-to-day. Presumably, that's why so many of you guys found the content interesting in the first place. And I mentioned it a little bit in the video that I posted yesterday, but it does get kind of tricky when you're a YouTuber and things aren't going great in your life. Any job is really difficult, I think, when you're having a tough time, like any job. So I don't want to pretend like this job has the exclusive rights to like being tricky when life's not going so great. But YouTube in particular can be really, really tricky because you want to let people in, you want to involve people in your life, you want to share some of the good things that have happened, but when bad things start happening and they start piling up and you don't really feel great about yourself or what you're doing in your life, then you don't really feel a whole lot of motivation to share that much. The opposite is true when things are going really good in your life. When things are going great, you want to tell people about it and you want to let people in on the blessings that have come into your life. And you also try to say thank you to the people that have helped you along the way. And I guess, I guess that's part of this video today is me saying thank you. I feel like I say it a lot, but I mean it a lot too. I really do appreciate everything that you guys collectively and individually have done for me. And obviously that's different from person to person, but some of you guys have influenced my life in ways that you'll never know, but profound ways. I will say that. It's the end of the year, and every year around this time, I tend to get a little bit more reflective, a little bit more serious, a little bit more sensitive too, I think. Just because I'm thinking so much about what's happened for me in the past year, all the things that I wish would have been different, or all the things that I'm proud of as well. And these days, I'm just swelling up with all kinds of positivity, gummy goodness, juju, and it feels great. And I want to tell you guys about that. That's kind of the purpose of this video today, is to let you guys know some of the stuff that's just been going on for me. So what are the things that I'm happy about right now at this moment in my life? Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind for me when I think about the things that I'm happy about right now is the fact that I'm speaking with one of my sisters again. The holidays, they can be a really stressful time for some reason, and they can be really stressful for me because I've had a few things happen in my life around the holidays that were incredibly challenging. Things that I was not prepared for, things that I didn't react well to, and things that maybe I did react well to. But the holidays can be tricky and stressful, and if you add already existing tensions with some of your family members into the mix, then it can be kind of a shitty cocktail, as it were. Long story short, it was a time when both my sister and I were under a lot of pressure and stress. And I can't even remember what the argument was about, but some argument happened, and I got so angry that I didn't show up for her graduation ceremony for when she graduated the police academy, which is obviously like a huge deal. And family showing up to those sort of things is really important, and it means a lot. And I let a petty fight that we were having get in the way of doing the right thing as a brother. And as a result, we ended up not really talking for like 2 or 3 years. And we talked a little bit. We would see each other during the holidays, and sometimes it was like kind of like tense and awkward. And some backstory. I'm talking about one of my sisters. I don't want to say her name, but she's one of of all the sisters that I have, Brandy is probably the most similar to me. We're both very loud and animated and bullheaded and kind of alpha in a lot of ways. I don't know how else to maybe not alpha. That's probably not a good way to describe it, but we're both very similar, and we've sort of shared this kind of kinship with each other since we were kids, like really similar senses of humor too. So, man, I got to tell you, for the last few years, it would really bum me out that she wasn't like a big part of my life, and that I had made this big mistake. But it's kind of like it's awkward when you've made a mistake, but you're still kind of angry about things that have happened. And it only took me until this year to realize that it didn't matter. I did something profoundly wrong, and it was my job to own up to that. And so finally, like, we started talking again, and I apologized to her, and I expressed my sincere guilt and remorse for the mistake that I had made, and now I get my sister back in my life, and she's doing like a lot better with stuff that's going on in her life. So, that's one of the things that I'm really happy about. I'm thankful for that. I wanted to share with you guys. That's one of a few. Another thing that I'm happy about is that I didn't disappear for like months when times got stressful for me this year, which is something that I've done. I've done it twice since I started my time on YouTube. Maybe even a few times when I think about it. But the most recent time that I did it, what I didn't tell you guys, I've talked about it on stream, but I didn't tell you guys in like a YouTube video or anything. But what I didn't tell you guys is that I spent all that time in a casino playing poker. I'm saying 12 to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as there was any money in the bank account, it was being devoted in 100% entirely to the pursuit of becoming like a professional poker player or something like that. That's the way that I justified it at the time, but the reality was that I was just looking for a means of escape. It was just pure escapism, pure and simple. There was no other way to describe it. And I'm not doing that anymore. It's a really difficult thing to break out of when you're just like painfully addicted to something, and that's how I describe my experience with poker. I love it. There are a few things in my life that I've experienced to be as stimulating and as enjoyable as playing poker, and especially when there's like a lot of money on the line. There's something about that just gets my heart rate going in the best kind of way, and then in the worst kind of way when you realize that you've distance yourself from like everybody that means anything to you, and you're not a good poker player. So how's that going to work out for you in the long run? I'm really glad that that's not the case for me anymore. I'm glad that I've reconnected with a lot of the older hobbies that I've had that I found enjoyment in that didn't result in a lot of like destruction in my life. So that's something I'm happy about too. The last thing that I want to say that I'm really happy about as far as things that have happened to me in the last year, or things that have come into my life in the last year, I can't broach this topic without mentioning my girlfriend, the woman I live with, the woman I'm in love with now. I met her around Valentine's Day of 2015 in this last year, and my life hasn't been the same since. And while I don't think I'm terrible at relationships, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that I had a whole lot of good momentum going into it. In 2012, I got eloped with someone that I used to be really close with back in high school. It was a relationship that meant a lot to me, and I very impulsively pushed us to get married in Vegas shortly after we reconnected, and that did not work out, and it ended up being a really, really painful time in my life. The biggest reason I think it was painful for me is because I did not like the person I had become by the end of it, and the mistakes that I was making in that relationship were so out of line with what I wanted for myself. And so after that relationship kind of failed, I dealt with just feeling kind of ashamed for a little bit, you know. I think it takes a minute to get over something like that. But I met Esme in February of this year, and this relationship has been like probably the most calm and most probably the healthiest when I think about it. Like, I can honestly say that for the first time, I really am trying to learn from the mistakes that I made in the past. And on top of that, so that makes me feel better. But then on top of that, Esme is just so like nice and gentle and funny and fun and curious and interesting. And she makes a really good roommate too. And like, we both love our pets, and our life is just so quiet and nice, and that just happened to me this year, and I'm so thankful for that. these are all the things in my life that I'm thankful for, and I hope that you guys found it interesting, and I really do hope that you guys are having a similarly positive, beneficial year in your lives. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. I'm going to go now. Peace out.